Hey everyone, welcome to the special Let's Be Real podcast. Today we will be presenting our top 10 films of 2023. Now unfortunately we have to do it in March because James and I cannot see any of the good Oscar films until March because for some stupid reason Australia and New Zealand decide to give us the films then. But we've seen everything and we're ready to share our top 10 list for you. So we'll jump straight into it. What we're going to do is James and I will run through our top 5 worst films, and then we'll flip it. James will say his top 10 films, and I'll say my top 10 films. Now our top 10 is our favourites, not what we think is the best. So any comments in regards to these, keep it to yourselves. It's our personal favourites. All right, James, top 5 worst films. Off you go.
All right, well, we're not going to rank these from worst to best or best to worst, however you want to consider a worst list. But these are just the 5 worst ones to me for 2023. So let's just get the obvious one out of the way. Next goal wins.
I knew.
Yeah. Everyone who's listened to us will know exactly where I'm going with this. I'm not going to speak on this one too much. But honestly, Next Goal Wins was one of the most unbearable cinematic experiences of my life, let alone 2023. If we were doing 5 worst of my lifetime, Next Goal Wins has a really good chance of making it. I just couldn't stand it. I wanted to leave. I wanted to play Tiggy with the kids in that cinema who were playing it during the movie. And I truly, truly hope this is the last time I will ever have to say Next Goal Wins. I'm sure this is not going to be another time where I need to say those words or speak about this movie. So good riddance. The next one I got is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now, to the movie's credit, I had, maybe one too many wines before actually going to go see it. But, you can have as much wine as you want. It does not help you have a better experience with this movie because I was still really not enjoying it. It was just, it was cringy. It's Illumination Studios at its worst. I didn't like it. I see the appeal. I don't have any kind of childhood nostalgia or childhood love towards the game, so I'm not gonna resonate it on that kind of level at all. So yeah, not for me. I didn't like that movie, but I'm glad a lot of people really had fun with it, so that was a good thing at least. The next one I got is The Marvels. I wish I could speak more on this movie, but I forgot nearly the whole thing. I genuinely have, man. I don't know. A lot of that movie has blown me by, but I remember not liking it, and just the fact that it was so unforgettable. And that's why it made this list, is because it's extremely unforgettable. I can't recall a single scene. I can recall some moments, but I just can't recall a scene. That's pretty rare. For movies with me. I usually remember a lot when it comes to movies, but not The Marvels. The next one I got is Napoleon. Or as me and Nate like to call it, Borpolian, because my goodness. Look, there's a lot to love and appreciate in Napoleon. The action battle sequences are choreographed amazingly. They're shot brilliantly. The lighting, costume design, all that stuff. On the technical side of things, it's really a magnificent piece of filmmaking, especially for the year of 2023. But in terms of, these are worst movies and they're very subjective. And for me, it was a really painful movie to get through just because it was boring. I could never watch it again. It's just so slow and yeah, If there's one of those movies that I don't want to see ever again from 2023, Next Goal wins, but Napoleon is a close second in terms of not wanting to watch that again. And the final one I got is kind of just like a throwaway because it's ghosted and it's just, it's not really expected to be good. If you ever wanted to know if Ana de Armas and Chris Evans had chemistry, they don't. And they're not the greatest actors, and if you give them a bad script, they're going to make it even worse. And it's another movie there I don't really remember too much, but yeah, I just remember it being kind of cringy and just really cheap bland filmmaking just designed to help Amazon Prime get some subscribers, if that's the right studio that I'm thinking of. I think it's Amazon Prime movie.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but those are my 5 worst of 2023. I would not want to watch any one of those again. It's very subjective. I had a list of around 10 that I was considering, and these 5 were the clear ones that stuck with me on that one. I found value in those other ones, at least.
All right. Yep. So my top 5, same as James. It's in no particular order, but we'll start off with our similar ones that we have on our lists. So the first one I've got is Next Goal Wins. I'm with James in regards to how this is probably the worst film of 2023 that we saw. It is Taika Waititi at his absolute worst. Pure unfunny jokes, cringe. The characters had no arc or satisfying arc. It was just horrendous. I recommend you do not go see it. The next one I have is Ghosted. You would think that Chris Evans and Ana de Armas would have chemistry. I mean, they had decent chemistry in Knives Out, but I guess it's a completely different relationship. And the fact that there was a scene where they had to CGI Chris Evans' face on his own body, like we saw it in the trailer. Like, you know, a film's going to be shit when you see that. Mm-hmm. And the next one that we have in common is Napoleon. Sorry.
You were about to say Napoleon.
There's Napoleon. This film, when the trailer first came out, James and I were like, oh shit, Ridley Scott could be back. Like, this looks like an absolute masterpiece. And then when we were in the cinema watching the film, James had to entertain himself by throwing any piece of rubbish he could get his hands on me.
The ice block wrappers, bro. I'm so glad they were there.
Yeah. Like, James found more entertainment throwing his ice cream wrappers at me than the actual film. And I was more entertained by telling James to fuck off than the actual film. And it just felt like as the film went on for like 4 hours, it was just, ugh. If you want to talk to someone, make them watch Napoleon. The other one I have here is one we saw at the film festival. It's Fallen Leaves. So before James and I went to see this, it was, it still actually might be 100% Rotten Tomatoes. We saw it, we saw the premise, and we're like, yo, this is going to be a fantastic film. It's going to
be good.
We rocked up to the cinema, and we watched the film, and we walked out, and we're like, what a waste of fucking time and money. Like, it was just so boring. The characters were bland and boring as well. The story just went nowhere. I was just, next.
Yeah, that was a close one to making it for mine. Ugh.
Yeah. And the last one I have is Wish. And I think I dislike Wish a lot more than James, that's for sure.
I think so, yeah.
Mainly because of the goat. I really do not like the goat. I wish I didn't have the goat. They tried to make the goat funny, and it just came off as cringe. Literally no one was laughing. Like, this was supposed to be Disney's film to celebrate 100 years off their studio. And they gave us Wish. They gave us Wish.
They shat on 100 years of history right 100%.
There. And the callbacks and references to the previous Disney films were just like, is that it? Like, oh, God. I wish
the
Disney...
The Bambi one was the worst.
I forgot about that. But yeah, the goat, I hate him. And I hate Wish, and I hate all these 5 movies. So let's just go into something a bit more positive, which is our top 10 films for 2023. James, starting from 10 up to 1, what is your list?
Well, you know I can't go straight into my top 10, man. You know this. I told you about it. There was just too many good movies. 2023 is honestly one of the best years of movies since maybe 2016 that I can recall. Like, there is so much good stuff here. I was going through all the movies that came out this year, and I'm like, I'm writing the ones down that I really enjoyed and that had a potential to make my list. I had 30 at the end of it. I'm not going to read all 30, of course, because we'd be here forever. But yeah, I have to mention some that didn't make my list because some of them feel brutal, and I feel like you're going to think that they're brutal. So I'm just going to mention some that didn't make it here. Barbie. I liked Barbie. I didn't love Barbie. It didn't enough to make the list. Any other year where it was a week year, easily would have made it, I feel. Past Lives. Really respect and appreciate that movie, but just doesn't really have the momentum or, I guess, longevity in my mind to make it as well. John Wick Chapter 4, I would have loved it a lot more if it wasn't actually like meant to be that ending for John Wick. At the character itself, I thought his ending was rushed and undeserving and just kind of came out of nowhere. So I think that taints it a little bit, but still I loved it. Air, the one based on Michael Jordan and Nike, I like that movie a lot. I think it just has such a great 90s energy to it. Another one, Anyone But You. I feel like I had to mention it because, you know, I thought the first time I watched it, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. But I thought it might have been a fluke. And I had to watch it again because my girlfriend wanted to watch it, obviously. And I liked it a second time. So it's no fluke. It's actually a good movie. And the box office results are telling of that. The Hunger Games, The Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, it was in my least anticipated for last year. And it blew me away because I just had really low expectations. But I think it's genuinely a good movie. 3 tough ones here. These are the final ones. The Color Purple, I adore that movie, from the acting, the narrative, just every aspect about it. I really, really did love it. Just not enough to really make it into my top 10. Killers of the Flower Moon didn't make the top 10.
Oh.
Yeah, see, we get a little bit spicy, man. 3.5 hours. I thought about it long and hard. It was my last one to really consider to get into my top 10. And I'm like, I don't think I could ever watch Killers of the Flower Moon ever again. I had the best experience watching it one time. I appreciate the hell out of it. And it's really well made. But like the Oscars, I am snubbing it from my top 10. And then we go to American Fiction, being left out as well. I really love the movie. When I watched the movie, and I watched it very recently, I'm like, okay, well, damn, we got another movie that makes top 10. And then I wrote everything out. I'm like, it actually doesn't have room on here. But really well done. I love everything that the narrative does, especially. And the acting, of course, is great too. But yeah, man, I'm really curious to see any of those ones make your list. Any major surprises from those ones?
Killers.
Yeah.
I could see Barbie coming because, spoiler alert, it's not on my top 10. So I did see that coming. Yeah, I was quite surprised by Killers as well. I thought, at least the technical side of things will sneak in. But all the rest, I wasn't really surprised at. It's been, like you said, a very, very stupidly strong year, where I feel some of the movies from last year should have just been released this year to, you know.
to make up for it, yeah. But honestly, on any other given year where it's not that strong, 4 or 5 of these could have easily made the top 10.
Yeah. I will say 2 of your films in your honorable mentions are in my top 10.
Ooh. Okay. I'm excited. Let's go. I'm going to go through my top 10 now. All right. So, number 10, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Yeah. And look, I know anyone who's watching this right now, how is that better than Killers of the Flower Moon? It's not. It's not. These are my subjective favorites for 2023. And Nayan knows this because he was in the premiere in New Zealand with me for this one, Dungeons and Dragons. We just had a ton of fun with it. Like, genuinely funny comedy, really well done characters, and just a new world to really get absorbed into. Dungeons and Dragons is not the movie that you think is going to be great, but I actually thought it was really well done. I think it's endlessly rewatchable because I've seen it a couple of times and I loved it all the same as well. I would really love to go back to this world with these characters and obviously with the same directors and writers behind it too. I thought it was just so much fun, and there's so much funny scenes, and it's just like a really, really enjoyable experience. Compared to some of the other movies on my list here, because some of them are not enjoyable, but they're just really, really moving. Dungeons and Dragons is more on the enjoyable side for me, so that's why it's made the list. It hurts, it kills to put it above some of the movies I left out, but I got to go with what I really enjoyed at the end of the day. So number 9, we have Anatomy of a Fall. I had to include Anatomy of a Fall. This is a movie that has consistently growing on me ever since we watched it at the film festival, man. we came out of it and we're like, damn, that was really well done. The writing was good, the editing was good, but I think it lingered on a little bit too much and just kind of, overstayed its welcome a bit. And then, so I kind of left it not overly, optimistic about it, but as I thought more and more and more about the movie, I'm like, oh, wow, it was just so well done. I can't believe how much I was on my seat. I can't believe how much times I thought that I had known, who was winning the trial and who had murdered the husband. I always thought that I had it, but the movie had really compelling ways of making me change, my whole thinking during the movie. And when it's like that, it just makes it so much more of an experience than just, watching a movie, because you have to really think and try and, decide for yourself on who did it. And Anatomy of a Fall is up there with one of the best, courtroom dramas that I think I've ever seen. So it definitely deserves a spot here. And we move on to number 8. Nayan will hate this one, but it is May December. Nayan would call this one boring, one he couldn't really get into, but he appreciates it a lot, and I appreciate it, and I was into it. It is just so good. It is deeply complex. The characters are so rich with history, and you just get, kind of sucked into the I don't know what to call it, the controversial, the weird, the gross, disgusting story that is hidden beneath the narrative here. And then you find out it's based on something real, which makes it even worse, because it's, I don't know how to describe it, and I'm not going to describe it here, but as you slowly unravel the layers to what's going on, these characters just get way more, complex, and it starts to reveal why they act or do things. It's just so well done. And when you have, some of the best performances, like from Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and Charles Melton, it just makes it so much more compelling. And I left the movie just constantly thinking about this movie, just the characters and, what it means and what it's trying to tell me, all that stuff. May December is truly one of those brilliantly written films. And I don't know if I'll forgive the Academy for not voting a single performance from that.
That was
Natalie Portman's never been better. Yeah, I know. And Charles Melton, come on.
That's a snub.
All right. Yeah, that is a snub. All right, number 7. I had to be on here. Anyone watching this? Nayan watching this? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I had to put it on. I mean, and, there's obviously some bias here. But, we've been involved with the Guardians since 2014. Right now, that's 10 years. But when we watched it, it would have been 9 years. And it's such a long journey. You follow these characters, and they've just had, they've had very big character arcs and huge character development, far more than majority of the MCU characters. Like, we've come a long way with the Guardians characters, more so than most, say, outside the OG Avengers. They've probably been the most developed characters so far. So saying goodbye to them and seeing their stories wrap up and seeing some of the harsh endings that James Gunn isn't afraid of doing, it's so emotional throughout it, and it's all on the back of going through, Rocket Raccoon's ugly, backstory, and just seeing him kind of overcome that trauma that is quite scary. James Gunn also gave us one of the best MCU villains that we've ever seen. He would be top 5, I would say. Really well done. MCU lost something when they lost James Gunn. He just continues to make magic in the MCU, and he's done it with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I really love this. I liked it a lot on the first time. I loved it on the second time watching it. Number 6 may surprise you, but we're going for it. I don't care what the critics say, because it's Elemental. Elemental is that good. I'm telling you, it is the best Pixar romance story since WALL-E. And I'm not going to say it's better than WALL-E. No, I'm not going that far, but it is damn near close. It is. I think it's really good. I honestly don't know what those critics were smoking, watching it, because it's really well done. It's just about the two characters blending in. It's a a migrant story at the end of the day and how they, interact. And I think it just hits the emotions. You just fall in love with the characters. You understand both of them completely, and just gives really compelling backstories to both. And it just absorbs you into a world that shouldn't make sense, but ultimately it does. And this isn't me telling Pixar to make another one. Honestly, stop with the sequels. But it's just an original movie by Pixar. Sure, it's based on something very similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it's still original. And Pixar is at its best when it's original. And I'm sticking with that with Elemental. I really did love it. I've seen it twice, and it's just so good. And it's just so moving on both times. All right, we're getting to the final 5 now. I don't know where Nayan, I don't know what you think, where I'm going with these last 5. Killers Removed. Oh, could be anything.
I think I know at least 3. I definitely know 2. I think I know 3 and 4 off your top 5.
All right, let's see then. Number 5 is Poor Things. I didn't expect to have this one so high. Me and Yorgos Lanthimos haven't always gelled in terms of personal preference. He did The Favourite, and I wasn't so high about The Favourite. Something about that movie just never worked with me. But the one thing that does work with me from Yorgos is Poor Things. Trying to explain this plot to someone is just one of the hardest things to do, and seeing the reactions is just hilarious to watch. Because I did it recently, and they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" The infant baby of a mother who committed suicide, and the infant baby's mind goes into the mother's body. It's just the weirdest concept. But the reason why I love it so much is Emma Stone. Emma Stone, she gave the performance of the decade so far to me. I don't think I've seen a performance better than this since 2020. And sure, COVID's been around, so we haven't seen as much. But still, I think it's perfectly valid. Emma Stone has given the performance of her career and of the decade so far. So that makes it completely enjoyable just to see that character go from, the mind of a baby, the inexperience, and just to mature in a finite amount of time, backed with, really great supporting cast performances, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, and just I think what it says about, the female experience, the female sexuality. I think it's just a really well done movie, and just has so much to say as well. And if you really dig deep and think about this movie, there's a lot of layers to it, and it's obviously backed by excellent technical production on almost every kind of aspect I can think of when it comes to filmmaking. All right, now we get into the final 4. So number 4, I have The Holdovers, one of the most wholesome movies I have ever seen. Holdovers is just a delight. It introduced me to Dominic Sessa. I love him. I hope he is in more movies. I think I heard that he got cast in something else recently.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. A movie that I'm quite excited for, but I've forgotten it for some reason. But he was great. I'm glad that this movie introduced him, and he is here because he was really good. And then Paul Giamatti, I've never really known Paul Giamatti to be a great actor. I just haven't seen those films that he's done, and so I'm glad The Holdovers was my first experience to see Paul Giamatti be in a role where it's just like, holy shit, you're so good. But it's just such a real movie. I was watching and I'm like, I just feel like I'm getting a glimpse into real people's lives. And I think that's so hard to do as movies, just making us, putting us in the shoes of other characters is really hard to do. But The Holdovers is one of the most authentic movies of the year when you're getting into that human experience. And, what they're going through is really not that big as to what, me or Nayan really go through in life. It's pretty much the same, but you feel it all the more because it's so authentic to the characters and you're just completely immersed in it. And obviously it builds up to, such a kind of a tearjerker ending there. It pulls at the heartstrings, but incredibly wholesome, a great Christmas movie. I really loved it, and I've loved it the first time I saw it, and I just continue to love it in my mind as well. All right, final three now. Nan probably knows the last three on my list. So number 3, I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. A movie that I definitely called from at the start of the year. I was losing my shit at the start of the year. I was, oh my God, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Greatest animated movie ever. I wasn't that extreme, but I loved it. And Nan loved it as well. Just the experience of watching that final half an hour. You know, you can feel your heart beating, what's going on, and the cliffhanger. Oh, it just all works so well. Yeah, one of the things I said when Across the Spider-Verse came out, and it hasn't changed now, is I don't think I've seen animated filmmaking done on this level. And I'm talking narratively. Seeing, you know, a part 1 and part 2 story through animating. This feels like a blockbuster that, you know, is part of like this huge cinematic universe. And it is at the end of the day. But it's kind of like the Infinity War ending where it's like, holy shit, I need to see what's going on. I don't think I've ever seen, you know, something just cut like that in an animated movie, and just the scope and the scale of what these characters are going through, what the implications are, and how authentic it makes it, and also how it ties those, you know, complications to those main characters, and the thematics of the movie just woven so, you know, intricately through everything that's going on. I think it just does so well. And beyond that, you know, it continues to try and change the game with animation, just keeps upping it up a notch as well, you know, and then it's backed by a really great score that's so engaging. It's funny. It's kind of everything you want in a movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I loved it. It deserves number 3 spot. Number 2, I am going the Iron Claw. I debated a little bit with this one, whether it should take number 1 spot, but it gets number 2. The Iron Claw is a movie that I just fell in love with basically halfway through the movie. And then I got real sad and depressed in the last half. But that first half of the movie, just the vibes, the way it captures these characters, just the setting. I think it just does such a good job of just bringing you into the movie and you get absorbed. And then the last half of the movie, it's like, oh, you thought you were having fun? Well, here's a load of depression for you. So, yeah, but the Iron Claw does such a good job. It gave us the best Zac Efron performance we've ever seen. You know, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, those three there, they felt like brothers throughout it. This movie kind of hit me at the right time because I think it's all about, you know, brothership and male friendships and stuff. So it just went really deeply into it, and how, you know, we kind of, you know, take on those friendships, and yeah, it just resonated with the whole just a lot. So that's why it's so high on it. And, you know, obviously if you've seen it, I'm not going to give too much spoilers away here, despite the fact that if you're watching, you probably should have seen it already. But yeah, it's really well done, and the ending is completely deserved and heartbreaking. It's just a movie that I fell in love with beyond the other things in this list that I've given right now. It's just one of those special movies to me, so that's why it's number 2 for me. And number 1, could you deny? It's The Flash. Psych! No, it is Oppenheimer. No, of course not. I would never do that. Oppenheimer is obviously number 1. Oppenheimer. Have I run out of words to say about Oppenheimer? You know, do I need to say anything? It just won Best Picture and Best Director and Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor, all that stuff. It swept the gold. Oh, not swept the gold, but it did sweep the Golden Globes. It also swept the Oscars as well. Yeah, it's Christopher Nolan's magnum opus. It's not my favorite movie of Christopher Nolan's, but it's so high up there. Incredibly tough to rank his movies at this point in his career. Yeah, it's just the perfect blend of what he does. It's so nice and refreshing to see Christopher Nolan tackle a movie like this. Usually what we get from Christopher Nolan is those really grand, huge scale, larger than life sci-fis where, you know, they're going different planets, or they're going into dreams, or, you know, reversing time, all this crazy, you know, science fiction concepts coming to, you know, the big screen. But with Oppenheimer, what do we just get, a basic World War II movie. And he covers it in a tremendous amount of dialogue, black and white scenes. It's just done so well. And he makes it completely engaging. It's like he brings in the independent, artsy kind of films and brings it into the blockbuster territory. And you just get that perfect merge. And I think Oppenheimer is a really good analogy for, mixing that kind of, form of filmmaking in with the blockbuster side. And it just delivers. And when you see it on IMAX, it's just, it's a complete, experience just from the narrative, from the technical side of it. I love Oppenheimer a lot. So much that I've had on 4K Steelbook. So, before it was sold out as well. So I'm glad about that. But that is my top 10 of 2023. Nain, thoughts, feelings, surprises, expected rankings there? What do you think?
Your top 3 was definitely not a surprise. I saw that coming from a mile away.
Well, you've been in every premiere and screening we've gone to for these, so you know. So it's cheating.
I was a bit surprised about Guardians. I thought they'll be a bit more higher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I know that you were a big advocate for Guardians 3. I think you had it quite high for your most anticipated as well.
I did, yeah.
So I thought that would have been a bit more higher up there. I knew May December was going to be in there. I didn't know where it was, but I knew it was going to feature.
It deserves it, all right?
Yeah. I was a bit surprised about Anatomy of a Fall, how that snuck in there. Elemental was a big surprise. Not expecting that at all.
Yeah, and number 6, bro. I hear the Guardians. I was looking at those two, and I'm like, oh, which one do I do? And I'm like, whenever I think of Elemental, I only think of really, really good things. I really did love it. So cheeky surprise.
Yeah, so I think those two were actually my biggest surprises, was Guardians being that low and Elemental just being there. And the fact that you just mentioned now that it was above Guardians is just like, what?
Yeah, no, it is a surprising one. I know that me and you both liked it a lot more than what we were hearing about it when we saw it at the time. But yeah, man, I'm a sucker for romance movies when they're done right. When they reel me in, bro, if they get me emotional, they give me the feels, I'm gonna love it. Hence, Anyone But You, bro. That was considered to be on this list. How ridiculous is that, right?
It is.
Okay. So if you had to give my list a letter grading, A is best, F is bad, what would you give it? Based on your own subjective opinion.
Oh, good, my own subjective opinion. And F because
Or try to be objective.
F because May December's there.
No, it's a good movie.
I'll give it an A.
People got to back me up in the comments.
I'll give it an A. It was
an A. Whew.
It was quite expected of you. I sort of knew you liked every single one of those films. There were just a few surprises in there, Elemental, that I wasn't expecting. But other than that, I was expecting a lot of your, at least 8 or 9 of your movies on your top 10 to feature.
Dungeons and Dragons, do you think that would make it in the end?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, interesting. All right. Hit me with your top 10 of 2023, mate.
All right, here we go.
Let's go.
Unlike James, I did not do 30 films because I knew my top 10.
What are some that didn't make it? Some that that I might be surprised by?
Ooh,
You've spoiled Barbie already.
Barbie. Anatomy of a Fall does not feature.
Ooh.
Past Lives doesn't. Fast and Furious and The Flash. I was really tossing up between those.
Damn it.
Yeah, but no,
I really thought they were going to make it in.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I think those are the main ones that you'd be genuinely surprised.
Okay. All right, hit me with the top 10. Go for it.
Number 10. I have John Wick Chapter 4.
No.
Hey, it's our favorite, all right? Not what we think is the best. Our favorite. It had all the elements of the previous John Wick's films in a most entertaining way. The visuals were fantastic. You got the whole bird's eye sort of take when he's in the hallway with that We call it the Dragon's Breath shotgun. Where he shoots and
Yep.
just breathes fire. Like that was an
Yeah.
excellent shot, and that was all done in one take as well. That scene was awesome. Then you got the ridiculous like staircase scene where he's fighting up a staircase, getting knocked down, and then going back up. Like you could tell that in this movie they treated him as like that, like because there was criticisms about how he can just fall off a building and somehow still alive. I think the director was like, you know what, I'm gonna have some fun with this and double down on it, and purposefully put him in these stupid, ridiculous situations and have him survive.
Well, he jumps out of the building, bro, and just lands on a car and just gets up and carries on running. So they're going for it.
Yeah, the only criticism I do have that I can think of right now is that ending. You are right, it was severely rushed, and his character arc was rushed as well. And then the fact that there's now going to be a John Wick 5 apparently sort of devalues it a whole lot more now.
Exactly,
so we could just have to wait and see what that's all about. But yeah, that is number 10. Number 9 is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Ooh, I thought it'd be higher for you.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
All right. Why number 9?
Number 9, I pretty much for a majority of the points that you made in your honorable mentions, it was a fantastic looking film. The score was great, the acting was phenomenal. Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, Robert De Niro were all fantastic in it. And the fact that Scorsese's previous film, which is The Irishman, which was 3 hours, was a struggle to get through.
Felt like 6 hours, yeah.
When I found out the runtime for this, I was like, oh no, it's Irishman all over again. But it flew by so fast that you just were like, oh, is that it? I thought there was like
100%.
a whole another hour left. So that's the main reason why it is in number 9 and in my top 10. It is a shame that it didn't get... did it pick up any Oscar wins? I can't remember. I don't think it did.
No, it missed out. Especially for Lily Gladstone.
Yeah, it just goes to show how competitive this year has been, and how much they fucked up by putting Lily Gladstone in Best Actress rather than Supporting, because she...
Making that a point, yes.
Because she probably would have come away with that Oscar. My number 8 is Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my goodness! Above Killers of the Flower Moon, I would never have guessed this.
Yeah, that was just an enjoyable, fun film. I think it was... Well, it came out around like this time last year, right?
Yeah, around March time, yep.
Yeah. So it was like one of those first films where we started getting back into the MG things, and it was a great way to, start. It was just so fun. The scenes were funny, and they weren't like cringy sort of forced sort of jokes. They were just natural jokes. I can spoil shit. Yeah, it's been out for a year. The cameo of Bradley Cooper was just so like bizarre, but it was done in like a funny ass way. That was awesome.
Maestro himself, eh?
Maestro
Showed
himself,
up.
Yep. Actor of the year. He was in 3 films this year.
Wait, what was the third one?
Guardians.
Oh yeah, well, he didn't. Yeah, wasted. Sure. Yeah, but yeah, fair props. All right.
Yeah, and the graveyard scene is just absolutely like probably one of the funniest scenes I've seen all year, if not this decade.
Yeah,
it's just
love that scene.
Hilarious. So, yeah, that is why it's at number. What was it? 8. Lost count there.
It's your list. You should know this.
Yeah, but I didn't number it. I just have it like listed.
Oh my gosh. All right.
All right, number 7, and I think this might surprise you a little. And yeah, it is The Holdovers. Is in at number 7.
Oh my. Bro, I thought this was going to be like a number 3, like a top 3 contender for you, honestly.
No.
You've been glazing this movie hard as.
Yeah, because I
like, oh my god, I loved it more than Oppenheimer. Like,
I didn't say that.
No, you've been popping off about The Holdovers.
The acting, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I swear you said that it should win Best Picture or Best Director or something like that.
Probably as like a should win, not a will win. But yeah,
all right, why?
Yeah, you went in so much depth that you pretty much like nailed every single point. But the main one is just the acting between Giamatti, Dominic Sessa, and Divine Joy Randolph. Like they literally between the three of them carried that entire film because they were only the majority, like they had the most screen time. That was fantastic, and just the way the characters between Giamatti's character and Sessa's characters, how they went from despising each other to, respecting each other and understanding where each person comes from over the span of a Christmas period. So that, let's say two-ish weeks.
Yeah, maybe even less time, but yeah.
Yeah, was absolutely fantastic, and it just made that payoff at the end absolutely phenomenal. Like you could tell that both Sessa's characters and Giamatti's characters have come such a long way over that 2-week period. That Sessa pretty much sees him as a father figure, especially for what he did during the film for him as well.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Damn. Yeah.
All right.
I think my list is going to trigger you from this point. Number 6 is Poor Things.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good spot. Good spot.
Yeah. Mark Ruffalo. I'm going to start with Mark Ruffalo before I get to Emma Stone because he pretty much said a lot about Emma Stone. But Mark Ruffalo was easily the second best part of this entire film, acting-wise. Just the way, if Emma Stone's character was a rise, his show, what's the opposite of downfall? Risefall?
Yes.
Uprising?
Riseful. Uprising. There you go. Yeah.
Uprising. Then Mark Ruffalo's shows a perfect downfall as well. He was for a cocky sort of rich, playboy, and then by the end of the film he was a broken shell of a man that was begging Bella Baxter to take him. It was a huge turnaround.
Gosh.
And then we get to Emma Stone. You're right, probably the best performance of this decade, if not the past 10 years. For sure, definitely her best performance in her filmography. Well deserved of that Oscar. And just the way she captured, Bella Beatrix going from an immature little girl with a baby brain to a full mature woman at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Was awesome. And then you have all the technical side of things, cinematography, set designs, production designs as well. The penis-shaped windows in a brothel. How creative is that?
Too good.
Yeah. So that is in at number 6. Number 5. I think this is where you might be a bit.
Don't laugh. Don't do it.
Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Oh my goodness.
It's a favorite.
Nah. No.
I got James triggered now. It's good. This is real. This is real life.
He got me. He's got me.
It's because you haven't seen it. You probably saw.
Yeah, I know. I can't judge, but I know. I feel strongly that it wouldn't be in my top 5, but.
Oh, definitely not. But
it's your favorites. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I first saw this trailer, I was so hyped for it. James knows how hyped I was. I was like, "Yo, this looks fantastic." It looks like similar to Spider-Verse, and just looks like it as if we were going to get a good iteration of the Ninja Turtles, and we did. Unfortunately, when it came out, I was down in Tauranga, so I missed it on the screening and obviously the release slate. So I decided to wait until the 4K came available. It became available, and I purchased it, and I watched it one day, and it pretty much met my expectations, if not more. I just really loved the dynamic between the 4 turtles. They actually felt like teenagers and brothers, rather than the live action where they didn't have that sort of brother bond. It just felt a bit forced, but this one just seems very genuine, and the voice acting's fantastic. The score is probably one of my favorite parts of this. The score and soundtrack in it, it just used some hip hop, some R&B, a couple of guitar strings, and it was amazing. And the visuals, I mean, it can be compared to Spider-Verse, but hey, it's fantastic. So that's why
it's all a good thing. Yeah.
It's in at number 5. Number 4.
Oof.
You done?
No, yeah, just carry on, mate. Go ahead.
Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I have that at number 4. Yeah, it's probably, the Guardians franchise is probably one of the best trilogies. Definitely up there. I'm not going to say it is the best, but it is definitely one of the best. Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely the most consistent in terms of, storytelling, character development, score, sound, visuals, stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think James Gunn just absolutely nailed this out of the park. Gave the core Guardians of the Galaxies a satisfying end. The relation we dived into Rocket Raccoon's backstory a whole lot more, which is something some people were wanting ever since Guardians 1 came up. And we just really saw the dynamic between Chris Pratt's character and Rocket Raccoon probably a lot more in this film than his 2 other films and the Avengers films, because in those other films we saw how they were always bickering, they didn't really see eye to eye, almost like frenemies. In this film you just see Star-Lord just absolutely break down and like trying to do everything he can for his friend, even if it means him dying. So I think that was really great character development, and the visuals is fantastic as well. Just there was that shot of like a raccoon's face and a hand going it, and it just like morphed into adult raccoon. It was just seamless, so good.
So good. Should have won best visual effects, but it's a different conversation.
All right, number 3, Godzilla -1.
Oh no
I'm
way!
I'm joking.
Okay.
I just did that to trigger you.
Great movie, but no, bro. You had I was thinking I thought you were dead serious. Go ahead.
It is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, number 3, same as you.
Oh, we might have the same top 3.
We'll see, probably.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much said it all. If this is their version of Infinity War, then we're waiting for the Endgame now. It's supposed to come out this year, but now we don't know when it's going to come out. But just that cliffhanger, that last 20 minutes is probably peak animation.
Yeah.
Like, it is just so well done. You're like sweating, you're tense of how gripping it is, and then it just cuts to black and you're just like, oh, what? Is that it? It's like big blue balls moment right there, for sure. And just Miles Morales' character, being this sort of naive sort of kid that's always showing up late and stuff, having to like grow up away from his own universe with no real mentors around him, where it's just pretty much him versus the world. And we see that struggle and just see him pretty much fighting for his life and just want to go back to his own universe to save his dad. So, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the Iron Claw.
Ooh. How good.
How good. Same as your number 2.
I know.
As a professional wrestling fan, I really enjoy this. I liked how it didn't focus too heavily on the wrestling aspect and more on the storyline, because if you're going to do a film about the Von Erichs, you don't want the wrestling side of things. The pure stories through what happened to them and what that family went through. Anyone that knows about it will know exactly where I'm coming from. Anyone that's seen this film knows where I'm coming from. And if you haven't seen this film, go see it so you know where I'm coming from. It is fantastic. Zac Efron probably gave his career best performance. I think this is the year of like career best performances. I've never seen him any better in this film. Just that last scene alone where he's just completely breaking down around. It's just amazing and just probably the best acting I've seen from him in ages.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't even know that he had it in him.
Yeah.
And the supporting cast was great as well. The 3 other brothers, they actually had a real good chemistry between each other. They actually felt
They really did, yeah. They felt like it.
brothers, and you could tell that Zac Efron really loved his brothers as well, willing to do anything and everything for him. And the dad was fantastic as well. He portrayed that sort of villainous, sort of being hard on your kids to become better aspect of it. And the visuals that they did for the wrestling sort of scenes was fantastic. You could actually feel them running the ropes and how like tiring that is, and getting slammed onto the mat and everything. So yeah, it's my number 2, and my number 1 is obviously Oppenheimer.
Of course.
Best picture, best film of the year, favorite film of the year for sure. The fact that we got to see it on IMAX for the screening, because I know that we're all worried and we're contemplating skipping the screening if it was not an IMAX. And just waiting, I think it was a day or 2. I'm so glad that our first experience was an IMAX, because that's the only way to see this film. It is an absolute awesome film. The ending is by far the best part. I'm not sure about James. I'm pretty sure he's on the same boat as me, but that ending was lingering with me for a couple of weeks, just about the message it told and just how true it came from that final line, and just really makes you see the downfall of humanity after that bomb dropped. Then you have all the technical aspects to it, visuals and cinematography. They won Oscars for a reason because it was absolutely jaw-dropping. The score was amazing. Ludwig Göransson just did a fantastic job, and is pretty much the new right-hand man for Christopher Nolan now. There's one Oscar under him. So I can't see Nolan going back to Hans Zimmer. Everything about this film was fantastic. Even the performances, best actor, best supporting. Robert Downey Jr. career best right here.
Yeah,
third career
and
best.
just one of the most stacked, ensembles of actors and actresses I think I've seen in a long time.
100%.
Yeah.
Even like characters that just had like a very minor supporting role. They were so significant. Like Gary Oldman. I didn't know it was Gary Oldman until he mentioned it. And I was like, what?
Should have won Best Makeup and Hairstyling. That's why.
For that alone, 100% I agree. But yeah, that is my top 10. Number 1 is Oppenheimer. I mean, every chance we got on previous podcasts, we've always been raving about Oppenheimer, so it's not really any surprises that it was our number 1 for both of us. But what are your thoughts on my list? I know that you're going to have a few comments for sure.
Ooh, mate, I have a few comments. I am surprised about the love for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I didn't think it'd be that high. I thought, I don't know, just between the conversations we've had throughout the year, didn't sound as high as that. The Holdovers, you just always made it seem like you love that movie a lot. I'm like, oh shit, this could actually really compete with Iron Claw or Oppenheimer or Spider-Verse for getting in that top 3 area. If I'm going to give you a letter grade, I'm going to give you a B.
No, I knew
a B. No, okay. All right, I'll give you a B plus because those top 3, it's fine. It worked. It's good. But you had Turtles in there, so yeah, it gets you out of the A range, unfortunately, for that one.
Turtles is great.
Dungeons and Dragons at number 8. Like, I thought I would surprise you by having it in my top 10. The fact that it's high for you just shows how much we loved that movie, just 100%. From an enjoyment perspective. It's just so enjoyable and rewatchable. What else did you have? Killers of the Flower Moon. I expected you to have that in there. Didn't really expect you to have, Elemental, and I knew Poor Things would, come in there for you as well. So, yeah, we're pretty much, we have a lot of alignments with our list. So, it's solid. A few surprises in there, as every top 10 list should have. But, no, it's good. Honestly, this year just show, or like these lists that we've done, just show how stacked both, like the whole year was. It's just, there's so many to choose from.
For sure. I mean, if James had to write 30 films for 2023 this year and had a struggle to make it 10, this year's going to be a piece of piss for him because there's zero competition out there. It was
hard to do 10 movies for my top 10 most anticipated for this year. And I know one of them has gone to 2025. And one that was in consideration, Ballerina, is in 2025 now as well. So it's getting even thinner.
It is. It almost makes you think that you sort of wish that, something like Killers came out this year, or even Barbie, or even May December, because if they did, they might have picked up a hell of a lot more Oscars, especially Killers.
Yeah,
if Killers released this year, I think it would have been, dominating.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like, we're getting some stuff being announced for this year, like Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie with Leo in it coming out this year. So that could be a little surprise thing that really, I mean, I know PTA is really great at what he does. So there are some surprises that could still be announced. And
we also have Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's next film, his passion project, apparently.
Yeah, and in 3 days I see Kung Fu Panda 4. So things are looking up, man. Yeah, you haven't even got the screening yet.
No, waiting patiently.
Good old America. They already have it. It's already been released there. So
it's fresh. Last time I checked, it's fresh.
It was like 75 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lowest for the series.
But it's still pretty decent. 70 is not too bad, for sure.
The Furious 5 aren't in it. I don't really care that much.
I thought they were shoehorned in.
Oh, like a cameo or something like that.
Oh, okay. No, it's still hype. It's Kung Fu Panda. I know one thing I'm going to do once I see that, because it happens every time I watch Kung Fu... Sorry, attention here, guys. You're welcome. Is whenever I watch Kung Fu Panda, it always makes me crave dumplings. So I know I'll be craving dumplings after Kung Fu Panda 4.
Kind of feel like dumplings right now. Or noodles.
Oh, noodles, yes. I've got some
Noodles are good.
Might have a cheeky little late night snack. Before I go to bed, how good.
Too good.
Alright, anything else you want to add for our top 10s?
Nah, man, we covered it very well. It's our top 10 of 2023. We say this every single year, but for our top 10s of 2024, we will try our absolute very best to bring it before March the following year. We want to be doing this in January, but Australia and New Zealand, they just don't give us the good stuff. Unless you guys want a top 10 without us seeing the majority of the movies that have been, labeled as really great or must-sees of the year. So that's why we wait, so we can, guys, tell you that make it, assure you that we have seen the best and the greatest for all the year, and we can make a good assessment on our top 10s. So we'll try.
100%.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
We are getting better. Usually it's like May, April we do this.
Yeah, May was rough, but last year was really bad. But March, so yeah, February next year is the goal. We'll keep improving from there.
We'll aim for then.
Yeah.
But until then, thanks for joining us on our little Let's Be Real special. Hope you have enjoyed our top 10s and our worst 5s of the year. If you have any comments about it, be sure to go down below and comment on our thoughts. Whose list is better, James or I's? We'll start a little poll. You guys can mention which list you liked. If you like Teenage Beating in there, let me know. Be sure to go down below and hit that like button, and definitely subscribe to us. We've finally made our way to videos, so any help would be appreciated, and we'd appreciate it so much, and we'll love you guys for that. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. We'll catch you on our next podcast in a couple days. We're Movie Gains. See you later.
Peace.